Joining us now, the 2015 Big Ten Coach of the Year and Penn State's head coach, Missy Doherty. And Coach, as you look back on the first season of Big Ten lacrosse, what stood out to you about playing in this league?
Well, I thought that rivalries were already being established so early. You know, it was great. It's the first year we had Big Ten women's lacrosse, and you could already feel the rivalries and the matchups build up. And, you know, to go through your season and have all your conference games be such big opponents on a big stage was just a great feeling for our athletes and our coaches.
You lost your first class of players that you recruited to Penn State, led by Maggie, McCormick, and Tatum Coffey. What did that group mean to this program, and how do you replace their production and leadership?
Well, I don't really think that's a group you replace. I mean, we really miss them a lot in their contributions to the program. You know, they really battled for us in their 4 years to continue to improve the program every single year, and really to help us establish ourselves as a consistent threat in the Big Ten and nationally. So I don't think you necessarily replace them, but it's a great part of coaching that every year is different, and every year different leaders step up and you become a little bit of a different team trying to find your best strengths. And I think this year has been a really fun year again, with finding different people in different roles and meeting the challenge to be a top team a totally different way.
Maggie McCormick was the feeder for your team for 4 years, and she set the Penn State assist record. I know obviously you can't replace her, but you have to have somebody in that role this year. So who have you looked to be the feeder this season?
Well, I mean, I think it's more of a team effort this season, you know, getting a little more movement behind the cage, looking at a couple different people, a couple different roles. We have Steph Lazo, who was back there before, Maggie Gallagher, who's emerged as a great attacker, and Jenna Muschetti, who might take that role on to be a little bit of a field general behind the cage. But you know, I think Maggie's role is something that we're looking for to be a team role, maybe not just rely on one person. She was face guarded a lot, and when you only have one person in that role, you know, it takes you out of your offense a little bit when that person's taken out. So to develop that position more as a team role is a little bit of our goal, but we're really thankful to see people stepping in like Jenna and Steph and really taking that role on and doing really well in that position.
Last year, you had to move some players around due to injuries on the defensive side. Natalie Schmidt, Abby Schmucker both had great years. What do you expect them to have in their second season playing on the defensive end of the ball? What are your expectations for them?
Well, again, we might have some shifts in that position. You know, Nat was one of our mark-out defenders. She came in here as a midi attacker and did a fantastic job transitioning to defense, keeping out some of the nation's top scorers from scoring goals. You know, Abby, we had to move down. We had one of our captains, Erica Spilker, who's back this year at low defense. So we moved Abby back last year, but we're looking forward to moving Abby back into the midfield, strengthening our defense with Erica Spilker, Taylor Blystein, and Nat Schmidt back there. We also have Allie Heavens, who's been a 4-year starter for us and a consistent, great midi defender. So it's nice to go into a year where you have some experience at your defensive end. And, you know, I think experience, especially at defense, is so crucial to growing and being a good team. So it's nice to have a set defense and have our young part be on offense. So that's kind of what our makeup is this year.
Well, sticking with the defensive side of the ball, you returned the Big Ten Goalie of the Year from a season ago in Emmy Smith. What growth have you seen in her game over the course of her career?
Well, I think for any goalkeeper, consistency is key. You know, I think a really great goalkeeper makes the saves they should in the right spot when the defense forces them out. And an exceptional goalkeeper makes those saves and then a couple that maybe they shouldn't. And, you know, I think as the season went along last year, Emmy just started to really feel comfortable in her position, feel comfortable in her role, making the saves that she should. And then in some really crucial games, she came up with some that were really difficult saves. So it's been great to see her grow. I mean, she started since her freshman year, which is pretty difficult to do as a goalkeeper. And it's been nice in these past 2 years for her to see her settle in and really compete at a high level.
There are several new rules in women's lacrosse this year. How do you feel like they're going to impact the game, and how did your team adjust during the fall?
Well, you know, we do have a lot of new rules this year, and I think from players to coaches, you know, I think it's a year to be patient with the officials. It's going to be a learning process, and, you know, I think it's important from the sidelines to on the field to, you know, adapt and learn together without, you know, sometimes feeling the the tense situations and reacting. So, I think our players adapted well. I think the game moves much quicker with some of the new rules that have been implemented. But overall, I thought it was a positive change in the fall, and I thought a lot of the rules made sense for what we're trying to do.
You added 9 freshmen coming into this season. Out of that group, who do you feel like is going to be a household name by the end of the year?
Well, Madison Carter is one of our incoming freshmen. She had a starting attack role in the fall, played some great games, great goals, just really blended seamlessly in with our offense. As well as Kelly Daggett was one of our starting midfield, just a really versatile player. And Kayla Bristolari, another great freshman who's came up big defensively and in the midfield, so just another solid player to add. But Madison Carter did a great job again on offense, might fill some attacking holes for us come our spring games.
When you're talking to recruits and their families about your program, how do you describe the value of a Big Ten degree?
Well, Penn State in general is just a great place to be a student athlete. It's a place with a lot of students, but a little town feel. And, I think our team exemplifies what Penn State's all about, a great community, people working together, and achieving at a high level. You're surrounded by the best here. You're surrounded by the best conference in the country with the Big Ten. And where would you rather compete? We get to compete on television, compete with the best teams in the country. They have 4 years to compete as a lacrosse player, and it's a big deal to compete in the Big Ten and at Penn State. So the fact that, these young women only get to do it for a small amount of time, we want to make them feel like a big deal. And being on the Big Ten network, playing in the Big Ten, and being part of a school and university like Penn State is just an amazing feeling.
You won the first ever Big Ten tournament last year, and you made it to the NCAA tournament for the 4th consecutive season. What's the next step in the evolution of your program?
Yeah, that's a great question. Every year it's gotten better and better. I've always been someone who's committed to the day-to-day process and let the end result kind of work out for themselves. And, every year looking back, it's been like, hey, that year was a little bit better than last year. So, that's always the goal, to just keep getting better as a program. To win the first ever Big Ten tournament was just an amazing experience for our players, coaches, and university last year. And that's what we want to continue to do, just to represent Penn State in the best way we can, to practice like a champion every day and see where the results lead us.
Penn State head coach Missy Doherty, we appreciate you taking the time, and best of luck this year.
Thank you so much.